What's crack-a-lack, and it's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So, back again for another 2020 NFL mock draft, and we're only, well, since we're not doing trades, I'm going to do 2 rounds for you, that way everyone sees what their team will get. Now, keep in mind with this mock draft, this isn't a reflection of my big board. This is actually going to be based on rumors coming out of the combine and what I've heard about said players. So it's going to be more so reflecting where I've seen and heard where players may go, on top of course, team needs and fits, stuff like that. So again, not a reflection of my big board. You'll see that later this week on the channel. I'll put up my big board, as well as my combine winners and losers video. And yeah, so be on the look for that, because I'm working on those immediately after I record this and edit it, because I want to get a mock draft out to y'all, because we love us some mock drafts. But go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. And yeah, let's go ahead and let's do the dang thing. And let's start, of course, with the first round. We're going through picks 1 through 8. So we're going to do this in divisions of 8, I guess. So Joe Burrow, this doesn't look like, nor does it sound like it's changing anytime soon. Bengals need their quarterback. And then Chase Young, there are rumors that the Redskins may consider taking Tua. I think that's more smoke than anything, but just keep that in mind. I got Chase Young here for now. And then Isaiah Simmons to Detroit is a bit of an interesting one, because he blew up the combine. Their teams are in love with him. A lot of teams have him as their consensus number 3 or 4 player on the board. And for me, I don't know how I just don't like the scheme fit in a Matt Patricia defense. Is he, I mean, with that speed, are you going to play him on the back end, like deep, or is he in the box? Like, I don't know. It's kind of wonky, but I mean, he's more of a too good, you can't pass up type of prospect, and try to work him into your system. And then Tristan Wirfs going to the Giants here at number 4 is kind of interesting, because I got 2 guys that I think Dave Gettleman will probably that he probably fell in love with. That's Mekhi Becton, Tristan Wirfs. And it's really a toss-up, because Wirfs, he blew up the combine. He blew it up. And then Mekhi Becton, for his size, he blew it up. So I think, Gettleman likes his trench guys. They have a need there at offensive tackle. So I ended up going with Wirfs just because he's higher on my board. And then Tua going to the Dolphins. It sounds like the Dolphins are going to be taking a quarterback. That's kind of what everyone's saying. And Tua looks like he's most likely going to be that guy. You've seen every mock draft in the world have him the Dolphins trading up to Detroit for that, which I think that's kind of silly. Because if you think about it, like Detroit, Tua don't want to go, like Tua's family has already expressed that he doesn't want to go to Detroit. So I mean, I could see Detroit or the Giants trading out with the team that wants Tua, but I think the Dolphins are, if they really do want Tua, they're sitting in a perfect position just to let him fall to them. And then I got Jordan Love here at number 6, which is kind of wild. You would think maybe Herbert. Herbert is higher on my board, but coming out of the combine, teams absolutely loved how Love interviewed. He was a lot of no excuses. I'll talk more about that in my winners and losers video at the combine, but it sounds like coming out of Indianapolis that Love will be a first-round quarterback. It's just a matter of who's willing to maybe trade up to get him. And then I got Javon Kinlaw here at 7. And Derek Brown, he was most notably he didn't look good in the agility drills. And not like he looked bad. He looked bad. He looked slow. And there's those concerns of him as can he really be, yes, he can push the pocket, but can he be a pass rusher? Can he be a disruptor? So there's none of that with Kinlaw. Teams, from what I've read, teams are just impressed. And he came in, all Kinlaw did, came in, he weighed in. He was only 2 pounds lighter than Derek Brown. So I got Kinlaw currently as a pick. He's also higher on my board than Brown anyway. And then CeeDee Lamb, you hear Kyler Murray talking about, hey, bring us some Lamb. And then Cliff Kingsbury, he came out and said he loves him some fast outside wide receivers, which then you would think Jerry Jeudy, but then you got the CeeDee Lamb hookup, so it just kind of makes sense, or hookup with Kyler Murray. So it just kind of makes sense to put him here for now. And I mean, again, this it's probably a pick everyone, or at least for the most part, it's like a dream scenario, the Lamb to Murray hookup. And then on to picks 9 through 16. Jeff Okudah, Okudah, I mean, he blew it. He had an interesting combine. He participated. But nothing that was harming, I think, to him. And the Jaguars, they get a steal here, him falling there. I think he's a good fit there for Jacksonville, who just lost Jalen Ramsey this past season. And then the Browns, they get Jedrick Wills. Rumor is that you can see 4 to 5 of these offensive tackles go in the top 15, that they're that good, that teams are that high on this offensive tackle class. So I don't really know how that's going to work, but I got Wills here. He just kind of fits the scheme for what the Browns want to do, a big, strong, athletic tackle. So Jets, they're going tackle as well. Joe Douglas loves his trench guys. Andrew Thomas here slipping. He's the number 1 tackle on my board, but again, teams are kind of high on that. They overvalue the combine so much, like the drills portion. I think, honestly, the most important things for the combine are interviews, medical, measurements, and then drills. Then it's drills. Drills kind of like, the purpose of drills is just kind of confirm what you see on tape. You know, it's like, I see a guy is fast. Is he fast? So that's kind of what it does there. And Andrew Thomas, he's not as freaky athletic as the other guys, but I think he's the most fundamental of all the tackles in this class. And then Jerry Jeudy falling here to the Raiders, contemplating Justin Herbert, but I mean, Jerry Jeudy, give Herbert a true number 1 receiver there. And I mean, it's a good pick. What can I say? And then, I mean, there's rumors that they might go Tom Brady anyway. So I feel like they will bring a quarterback in the offseason anyway, by some means. And then Justin Herbert falls no more. I think this is a good landing spot for him in Indianapolis. Herbert, he was very hurt by the scheme there at Oregon. They're very screen heavy, short to barely intermediate pass type of scheme there at Oregon, so it doesn't play to his strengths. And I mean, he's destroyed the offseason process, but we knew he would. The dude's got the arm talent to do so. He's very prototypical type of quarterback. Derrick Brown here falling to the Buccaneers. They potentially might lose Sue. They might lose JPP. So Derrick Brown, I mean, great value here at F14. Henry Ruggs to the Broncos. The Broncos, they said the combine that they're going to prioritize speed here. And I mean, there's no one faster. There was no one faster at the combine than Henry Ruggs. And then Christian Fulton here at 16 for Atlanta. I mean, good press man corner. There was talks about, oh, he's not that fast, and then he runs like what, a 4.45 there at the combine. So yeah, I don't know, man. This is the thing about this time. You know, you start getting a lot of fake news there at draft time. So you just kind of gotta go through the weeds, push through the smoke, see what's true, what's not true. And then Dallas, they're going Xavier McKinney. This is kind of a popular mock for a lot of people, and it kind of makes sense. He didn't run a banger of a 40. It was like 4.6. But I mean, it kind of confirmed what we already knew about him, that he's an above average athlete, and He's probably going to be a strong safety, a box safety in the NFL. I mean, he's a good run defender. He's decent in coverage. He's a good tackler. He's just a very sound player. He's a very safe player. So got him there. Dolphins, they're going Mekhi Becton at 18. Again, freak athlete. So massive. I mean, we could see him going as early as to the Giants at number 4. So it's kind of wild. And pretty hard to predict, pretty hard to mock. But the thing is why he would be he's lower for me. I even have Josh Jones ahead of him. Is that he doesn't have too many true pass sets, meaning that no play action. It's not designed run or designed RPO. It's a true run play, and I think he had only like 77 last year, and he gave up 8 pressures on that. So the other guys are way more battle tested when it comes to that. And true pass sets are very they kind of transition. Wow, words. Am I right? They transition, they correlate better to how maybe how to determine what a player will be at the next level, and the other guys just seem a little better. And then Kenneth Murray to the Buccaneers linebacker. Murray, he had a great combine, and for me, this is a bit too high, but the Raiders, they got a huge hole at linebacker, so they go with him. Ross Blacklock, another guy that did very well for himself at the combine. There's talks about him in the first round, and I got him as a second rounder, but I could kind of see the hype. We knew he was going to have a great combine, so I should have anticipated that he'd probably get some first round talk in my in a couple of my mocks. But yeah, the Jaguars, they just kind of addressed their defense here. I mean, they had one of the worst run defenses in the league, so get him to help out. Denzel Mims to the Eagles here. He blew up the combine. He kind of confirmed a lot of the things we've seen on tape. We saw at the Senior Bowl. Yeah, they're talking about him going pretty high, maybe that mid to late first round, and it's kind of like he is a first rounder. He has been cemented. That's as far as what I've read, what I'm hearing. And the Eagles, man, they need a Deshaun Jackson-esque player, and he's not as fast, not nearly as fast. Don't sleep on Mims' speed, but he's not nearly as fast, but he's got a similar size to Deshaun Jackson. So I like it here. I think he's very physical. He's got good hands as far as contact. So I like that here. And then T. Higgins at 22 for the Buffalo Bills. Probably one of my favorite, or one of my ideal mocks here. I mean, T. Higgins honestly could go a little bit earlier, but Buffalo, they're looking for that possession receiver, and perfect combination of size and speed here in T. Higgins. And then Cole Kmet coming here to New England at 23. I'm not that high on this tight end class. I don't think there's a true first rounder, but Cole Kmet definitely, why do I keep saying definitely? But he definitely separated himself from the pack. He was at 260, probably ran among the faster 40s for tight end. He looked comfortable in drills. I mean, outside of Okwuegbunam, but yeah, who ran just the 40, and people are like, oh yeah, he's one of the top tight ends in this class, Okwuegbunam. And it's like, man, he didn't do any of the other drills. He specifically went in there because he knew he was gonna have a banger of a 40. It was like, yeah, let's avoid these because this will hurt my stock. So I'm not willing to hop on that bandwagon just yet. But Cole Kmet, I mean, the Patriots, they've been missing a guy that can catch and block there at tight end. They've been missing a guy that can catch for a while there since Gronk left. They can't find anyone that could be a good receiver, good playmaker. I don't know if Cole Kmet is that, but he could be. Justin Jefferson, this one's a good fantasy right here to the Saints, just because they love those big slot receivers that can make those contested catches. Justin Jefferson, he had a great combine, put on some weight, and I'm still, based on the tape, I'm still not willing to pop him up any earlier than this, and even this feels a little early for me, just because I kind of question his ability to play on the outside. But again, with the added weight, that kind of helps. Maybe it'll be easier for him to take on that press, so that you see on the outside. I don't know. We'll see. And then at 25, Trevon Diggs to Minnesota. It just makes sense. Zimmer, he loves those big, physical corners. Diggs, he's big, he's physical, super athletic, just like his brother. By the way, his brother plays on the team, so just kind of makes sense here. And then 26, Clavon Chaisson, out of LSU. So, this is another guy hard to mock, because I think in this class, with this edge class, there's Chase Young, and then take a couple of notches down, and then you got the next guys. There's a lot of guys with really good traits that can translate to the NFL, just not enough consistency on tape. Chaisson, he's one of those guys that teams are going to fall in love with, the athleticism and those traits. The Dolphins, I think this is a good fit for the Dolphins, because they have holes everywhere. And then AJ Epinesa coming here at 27, real low. Because word on the street is, you didn't know, he didn't test well at the combine. He shedded weight, and it didn't look like it made him, like, he doesn't look nearly as athletic as he did on tape, which is kind of weird. Didn't look like he had any good bends. It's kind of tough for him in the 3-cone. And it's like, I don't know. I'm willing to bank more on what I saw, especially during the last 6 games there at Iowa, than I'm going to see at this skills competition, essentially. So yeah, I think where it is, he's probably going to be a late first, early second, which I think you're getting a huge steal at that point. And this, I think he'd be perfect for Seattle and their whole just defensive alignment. And they're losing everybody and their mom this offseason on the defensive line. So it's a good addition. And then Willie Gay Jr. coming in here at 28 for the Baltimore Ravens. This is a guy that's got a lot of hype right now. Like, teams are talking about him being the best linebacker in this draft. That is not Isaiah Simmons. So, because he blew up the combine, a lot of people are going back to his tape, which it's very limited. It's a very limited sample size. He doesn't have a lot of reps on tape, but they're like, oh my gosh, he's so great. Phenomenal coverage receiver. And the red flags are there with the character. I mean, I think he got suspended at Mississippi State because he cheated on a chemistry test. I don't know if it's more of a noggin. It's like, are you gonna cheat and get caught, man? Why are you gonna do that? But I don't know. For me, that's like, kids cheat in school. We know this, so I don't think that's too much of a character concern. I thought it would be something far worse. But yeah, now there's talks about him in the first round. I have a mid to late second round grade on him. So yeah, sounds like just teams are real hype. Josh Jones fallen at 29 here, just because it was pretty tough to kind of anticipate where to put him. I thought about maybe with Minnesota, but I think Minnesota, what they really need is someone that can immediately contribute on the offensive line. I don't know if Jones is there just yet. It's typically with rookie offensive linemen, it takes them a year or two, if they're really good, to get their foot in the NFL. Sometimes it takes 3 to 4 if they have the traits, but they need the time to develop, like a Laramie Tunzel and such. So anyway, Titans end up getting a steal here. They got their Conklin replacement there. And then Green Bay going Laviska Shenault Jr. He really hurt his stock this week. He didn't run an incredibly fast 40. He had a a core injury. So he's going to get surgery on that. The injury red flags are there, a lot of them. So it's kind of scary, but you can't deny like the talent. I mean, just the raw talent. Get the ball in this guy's hands, and he can take it all the way to the end zone. Like, yes, he's still raw as a route runner, but it's so hard to deny just the potential. And I hate that word, potential. It's a dirty word, because I mean, how often do we say potential and then the potential is never achieved? But yeah, I think this is a good landing spot for Green Bay, because they could also pursue someone in free agency if they really want to. It's a receiver deep draft, so they can swing again later in the draft. So go ahead, take and I mean, they're no strangers to taking guys with huge upsides and questionable production or red flags, Rashawn Gary last year. So I think it's a good fit here. 49ers, they're going CJ Henderson. The Niners, they don't got many holes to fill, So CJ Henderson was another guy that blew up the combine. They're talking about him like he's the second best corner in this draft. I still disagree. I've kind of been falling off CJ Henderson. I think there's a couple of guys I like better. You'll see that with my big board rankings. But I mean, he's a good off man corner. I liked his 2018 tape. His 2019 tape wasn't that great, but the physical talent is there. Jeff Gladney coming in here at 32, wrapping up the first round in a pretty little bow. And I expected him to test better at the combine, but he didn't test bad. He actually tested very good. I expected too much. But he measured in. He's got very long arms, and the guy has been shut down in the Big 12, where all they know is to throw the ball. So I've liked Gladney. He's been climbing up my board steadily, and I actually think I have him up to either cornerback 3 or 4. And let's start the second round here. We got the Bengals going with Noah Igbinoghene. Whew, that's a name. Out of Auburn. This guy's getting first round hype. I think I have a third round grade on him, just because he's a bit of a raw prospect. But teams are going to, and that's the thing, man. The combine, it protects, it helps raw prospects out so much. Guys that don't have it all together yet, from a fundamentals, from a technique standpoint, from a get into the know of the game standpoint, the combine helps those guys out tremendously. And honestly, like, I think if you're good, you don't need the combine won't help your stock, don't attend it. Bradley Anae, I think, hey man, you're good athletically, which he ended up being decent athletically, the combine, but that's his big concern, him athletically. But he blew up in the combine. People were talking about him, or the Senior Bowl, like he was a maybe early second, mid-second round pick. Don't go to the combine if you know it's going to be a liability to you, So I don't know. Combine's kind of weird, but it's good to get those measurements. At least go get measured out, like Javon Kinlaw. But I think he was nursing a little bit of an injury. But the Bengals, man, corner is probably the most important position on defense. It's right up there with pass rusher. You want guys that can cover. So, like I said, this guy, Noah here, he's getting talked about like he's a first-round talent. So I got him here at the beginning of round 2. And then the Colts, they go Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver out of Arizona State. Now, he was another one that I have a first-round grade on. But, I mean, I think I had seven receivers go in the first round. So not all of them are going to be able to make it. So he falls here, but he falls in a very good situation. So Indianapolis, they go ahead, they address the wide receiver position that desperately needs more competition in that room outside of T.Y. Hilton. And T.Y. Hilton's looking like Anyone going to step up? I know Zach Pascal, he had his moments, but you know what I'm saying? Grant Delpit right here at 35. In my opinion, this is a steal, but to Detroit. But yeah, man, just teams are really worried about this tackling thing, and I think you got to value the coverage aspect way, way more. Tackling has been something that can be taught at the NFL. Deion Jones was a terrible tackler going into the draft. And they knew by no means this guy's going to be a run defender. But you look a few years down the line and he's not the best run defender, but he's solid enough, you know? So you could teach that stuff. You can't teach these you can't teach athleticism. You can't teach these type of coverage skills. This guy's so versatile. And yeah, man, they're talking late first round, early second. I think you're getting a steal at that point. I mean, yeah, there's question marks, but still, I feel like he's a mid-first round player. So, Lions, congrats, you get a steal. Terrell Lewis, edge at Alabama, coming here. Another Dave Gettleman guy, man. He loves his trench guys, and he fits the profile. He from a weight and height standpoint. He is a prototypical pass rusher. You've seen it on tape this year, but he's got the injury red flags. He has the not a true outside of this season. Doesn't have a massive sample size, so no, in part because of the injuries. But yeah, there's still a lot of questions with him. But I have a second round grade on him. I don't know if it's early, but for me this feels too early. But I can see Dave Gettleman really liking this guy here. Terrell Lewis is a early second round type of guy. And then Austin Jackson, a guy that's starting to get like top 20, top 15 hype, which I'm like, no, roll that back. Because I think you got your five guys. Because I'll give Mekhi Becton. For as much as I'm like, oh, he's not as good as Jones, as Wills, as Wirfs or Thomas. That is a great foundation piece, to work on. That is you put that piece of clay in front of a coach and they're like, oh my goodness, let me mold this into my Hall of Fame left tackle. He's got that type of potential. Austin Jackson, a guy that I think not nearly as raw as Mekhi Becton, but he does not have the ceiling by far. But teams are loving him. He's very athletic. He fit well in a zone blocking scheme. I have him as a mid-second rounder. So some team's going to fall in love with him. I don't think he'll go in the first, but he can. He can, from what I've heard. And you know what? Chargers, they need them some line help, especially now that they got a new quarterback that they're going to develop. AJ Terrell going to the Carolina Panthers here. Good fit. From my point of view, I love AJ Terrell. Now he's getting some first round hype, which it's like, man, this is a very good corner and a very good wide receiver class. So I believe it. I buy into it. I like the pick here. Jonathan Taylor, running back out of Wisconsin. If you're not new to the channel, you know I'm not that I'm not a fan of Jonathan Taylor. It's just I have other running backs ahead of him. Because the fumbling, the drops, I don't think he's a good route runner. Be like, oh, well, look, he can catch and run with the football. Yes, he can catch and run with the football off a screen pass, hey, go run this hitch. But, there's no complexity. Those are routes that all running backs should know how to run, you know? So, I'm not that high, but I knew he was going to I knew he was going to test pretty well at the combine. I didn't know that 40 was going to be that fast, but I can definitely see him now being the first running back off the board. I don't think that makes him a first rounder. I don't think there's any first round running backs in this draft. So I can see a team taking a chance on him. I can see the Dolphins being like, you know what? We can find a pass catcher in the backfield later. Let's get a hammer. A hammer with wheels. And then Ezra Cleveland going to Arizona. This is one of my biggest winners from the combine. I just didn't expect him to be this explosive, this athletic. I mean, he was just very impressive. I have him up there. I think he's like my sixth or seventh tackle off the board in my big board. So yeah, I could see him going high. You know what? And this is a good situation in one of those offenses that really spread the formation. They want big athletic tackles, and you know what? He's been so consistent in Boise State, and he might be like, it's the Mountain West, man. It's not great competition. Well, guess what? He should dominate that type of competition, and he did. So he did what he was supposed to. Just saying. And we go here, Cleveland, Kyle Dugger, safety out of Lenoir Rhine. What school? Yeah, coming out of small school, but this guy, him and Jeremy Chin got all the hype from the safety group. In the Senior Bowl, in the Combine, it's just been darn impressive. I mean, I've even seen Kyle Dugger being talked about as a late first rounder. Teams have really fallen in love with this guy. They talk about like, oh, at the Senior Bowl, if he was wearing like an Ohio State or a Michigan helmet, you know, he wouldn't seem out of place. I like the guy. I like him a lot. Cleveland, they need a safety. They haven't really found a solid replacement for Jabril Peppers. So Dugger, I think, could fill that role. And then Netane Moody going to Jacksonville here at 42. I love it. He didn't take part in any like the speed or athletic or explosion drills there at the Combine, but he did do the bench press, which he crushed. And I heard he interviewed in particularly well. I saw a few of his, and yeah, man, he just seems like a nice guy, like genuinely nice, but at the same time intimidated. It's really crazy. But Jacksonville, man, they could upgrade from on that. I think it's the right guard spot where they have AJ Cann. They could upgrade that. They do need line help anyway. Protect your quarterback of the future, whether that's Nick Foles or Gardner Minshew. That's up to them. But yeah, get some protection for your quarterback. You've already addressed defense twice in the first round, so use this to address the offense. Chicago Bears, they're going Yetur Gross-Matos. Another guy you hear out of the Combine. You love the physical tools. He is a developmental prospect, though, in my opinion. Like, it's not like he's taking these big leaps year after year in his production and such. He's taking small little baby steps. I think he can be an elite pass rusher. It just might take him some time to get there. So some team's gonna fall in love with the traits. You could maybe even see this guy go late first. So the Bears, they go in and they're like, we're tired of Leonard Floyd. Let's get someone that can be better. So they do. Colts, they're going Justin Matabuke out of Texas A&M, which is kind of weird for me. I think I have a late to third round grade on him. But he, again, another guy that really benefited from the Combine. I don't think he's more than a 3 tech. He's even said, that's where I'm most comfortable. I'd rather not play any of the other gaps or tech spots. So I don't know, for me, that's a bit of not a red flag, but you're going to play whatever I say you play. But you do want to play a guy to your strengths. So I don't know. I can kind of see it. But they're talking about him maybe late first, early second. I actually have like Marlon Davidson ahead of him. I have Jordan Elliott, who's just going to be a steal for some team because he is very, very underrated. I don't know. You could probably use both those words, but he ain't getting the hype he deserves. I think he's a first rounder, and he might fall to the third round. It's ridiculous. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're going Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He was actually probably, outside of Jonathan Taylor's 40 time, Clyde Edwards-Helaire had one of the best combines at the running back position. He just looked smooth, agile, elusive. especially at his size. You know he's the receiving threat he is. So Bruce Arians, I think, would love this. They took Ronald Jones in the second round. Upgrade. I'm just saying, upgrade. Denver Broncos, they're going Jalen Johnson, cornerback out of Utah. I love Jalen Johnson. I think he's a first rounder. Sounds like what I've read and such, he's probably just going to be a second rounder, which I think a team will get a steal. He's a calculated risk taker, man. He's very smart, very wise, and I think he'd fit best in a zone-heavy scheme. And guess what? Denver got a zone-heavy scheme. And the Atlanta Falcons, they see running back starting to come off the board. They go ahead, they get theirs. DeAndre Swift. I think he fits very well, kind of like he fits. I think I don't want to say he's like Devontae Freeman, because I think he's a better receiver than Freeman, but I don't think he's nearly as explosive. Explosive? Yeah, that's the word I want to use. Explosive as Devontae Freeman. So, but I think he fits very well in a zone running scheme. So Atlanta, here you go. At 48, Jalen Reagor. Jets, you got yourself a steal. That's a quality first two picks for the Jets. Andrew Thomas and Jalen Reagor. I got both first round grades on. Jalen Reagor, he ran a 4.47, I believe, in the 40, which is nowhere near as fast as we thought he was going to run, which it's not a bad time, but we thought he was going to run a 4.3. Keep in mind, he put on 10 pounds, but sounds like teams are like, no, he's going to be a second rounder. So here he is in the second round. Like I said, this doesn't reflect my big board, but what I've heard coming from the combine. And then, oh man, 49, Julian Okawara going to Pittsburgh here. I don't think they'll be able to get retain Bud Dupree. They could use a franchise tag, but then now you're in a bigger cap hole than you really need to be at that point. So Okawara, man, he's like, I know he's only like, what, 250? He might not even be 250. Can't think of it on the top of my head, but I think he may be like 245, but the man's extremely strong. He's extremely fast. The inconsistencies on tape are a bit worrisome, is probably why I think he's a late first rounder, but he's probably going to end up falling to the mid to early second round. So the Steelers, they go ahead, they take a quality pick here. And then Adam Troutman, tight end from Dayton? Not Daytona, Dayton. To the Chicago Bears. They need playmakers. It sounds like the Bears are going to bring in a veteran presence to push Mitch Trubisky. So they still need to get him more weapons. They got rid of Taylor Gabriel, which was a bit of a surprise, but not. So I contemplated going receiver here, but they have really no one at tight end, no contributors. I mean, Trey Burton, he didn't play. I think he was hurt last year, but even 2018, he would just pull out the occasional game. So they go ahead, they get Troutman, he's had a really good offseason process. Then the Dallas Cowboys, they go KJ Hamler. A lot of teams are high on Hamler. I'm not as high as most people in general are on Hamler. He's kind of a consensus second round pick for everybody. Teams just love the athleticism. They love the after the catch, the speed, all of Hamler. But the guy, he dropped like 40% of his catchable targets last year. It's kind of alarming. He doesn't have great size, which is like, okay, that's not nearly important in the NFL at the receiver position. But if you can't catch a football, that is, So there's reasons why I'm a bit like about Hamler. But the Cowboys, they need a slot guy because Randall Cobb is bye-bye. So just get Dak more weapons, especially if you don't know what's going on with Amari Cooper. They're probably going to re-sign him, let's be honest. And then the Los Angeles Rams, at 52, they're going Cesar Ruiz. I hope I didn't butcher it. I really tried to practice that before, but here we are 50 picks later, and I gotta remember how the name's pronounced. I should have wrote it down. But Michigan, the Michigan guy, he's starting to get some first round hype, which I'm okay with. He's good. He's great. He's super young. At the combine, he tested well in strength, but we can see it not translating right at this moment from his 2019 tape. He doesn't have the same play strength as actual strength. That kind of makes sense. But he's super young. This guy's still learning. He's still developing. I think a team that picks him, they got to be willing to have that Garrett Bradbury type of year in year one. But I think he could definitely be a Pro Bowl center. He's going to thrive in a zone blocking scheme. The Rams, they should be happy to get him because their offensive line sucks. There, I said it. Eagles, they're going Bryce Hall, cornerback out of Virginia. Some things I've seen, like, yeah, he's a second round, but I can see him fall in a third round. I think is ridiculous. To me, Bryce Hall is still a first rounder. I love Bryce Hall. You might be like, oh, speed concerns or such. I think in a cover, like, you can protect his athletic limitations in a cover 3, like, type of defense. This guy, he's phenomenal. He's got great ball skills. So the Eagles, I think he's still here at 53. And then Alton Robinson going to Buffalo at 54. Another guy who had a very, very good combine. I have a third round grade on him, but it's an early third round grade. So if you're like here picking near the bottom of the second round, I don't mind taking those early third round graded guys. And he kind of fits what they're losing in Shaq Lawson, kind of, sort of. I think you could play him at a 6 tech. I would love, like, he could play that 6 to 7 tech. You could even, ideally, and I say this, he could play in a Y9 alignment as well because he's got such a explosive first step. You saw that the combine teams are like drooling at the bit, at the thought of Alton Robinson. Great speed, so they get their edge rusher here. And then Marlon Davidson going to Atlanta. Marlon Davidson shouldn't fall this far. I don't know how he did. I mean, this is a very, very talented draft class. Guys with a lot of talent are gonna fall. And that's something I have kind of learned doing these drafts, that it's like, I'm not going to be satisfied at all at the end of doing these mock drafts, because it's like, man, this guy should have fallen this far. Or why isn't he in the second round? How did he get here? It's just going to happen. Like, good players are going to fall. It happens every year. So don't be too bummed if you don't see your guy here in this 2-round mock draft, because I'm bummed too that I couldn't include some of these guys. But Marlon Davidson, there wasn't any edge rusher at this point that I was in love with for the Falcons scheme. You could say Joshua Uche. I don't want to see him in a 4-3. I don't want to see him used as an under linebacker. Please don't. I think he will thrive much better in a more, not in like a 3-4 scheme. But yeah, Garrett Bray, wow. Grady Jarrett, he gets his running mate here. I think it's a great pick. This guy, he's an edge that put on, like, at this point, I think it's like we're at 30 pounds he put on, maybe 25. And he's still got the athleticism. It's kind of disgusting. Like, he wasn't that athletic for an edge during the season, but when you put him at defensive interior, that athleticism really shines. The guy is quick. He's got good pass rushing moves. That's scary in the middle. And then the Dolphins, this one was kind of tough going with, I didn't know really where to go. I knew I kind of wanted to address either corner or secondary or the offensive line, and for me, the offensive line was more of a dire need. There wasn't a tackle that I was really in love with at this point. So I went with Jonah Jackson because I'm in love with Jonah Jackson. Solid. He killed the offseason process. He's always been steady. He's always been reliable, whether it was at Rutgers or Ohio State. From what I hear, he's a second-round player. He's a second-round player on my board too, so Good correlation. And then here we are, final stretch. I got the Texans going Darnay Holmes. I got Darnay Holmes as a third rounder, but teams love his attitude. Teams love his speed. The guy's going to be probably a press man corner at the next level. Yeah, I could see that. And then, I mean, the Texans are probably going to lose Bradley Roby because I mean, he's anticipated. It sounds like his asking price is going to be $11 million a year. Texans, they can pay that, but do they want to? So I think they just bring in a guy maybe to be a replacement. And then the Vikings, they go Damian Lewis. I almost went with Jake Fromm here, but Jake Fromm did not have a good combine. He got small hands. He's got small hands. But like honestly, if I were gonna, and this is what happened here. It was tough because I have a second round grade still on Jordan Love. I still have a second round grade on Fromm, but it's a late one. And then I have think a third round grade on Jacob Eason because I think for all the arm talent in the world, he looks terrible under pressure. And I don't know, you put Jacob Eason in an NFL pocket, he's not going to see the kind of room he saw in college. So what if he gets the easiest bit of like, oh no, the pocket got a little smaller. Like, is he going to freak out? Is he going to turn into that? I think his passer rating was like in the low 30s when under pressure. Like, and it's not like he has good mobility either. And I'm not even talking about from like an athletic standpoint. He does not maneuver well in the pocket. So I have a ton of questions with Eason. So I don't feel comfortable with him in the first 2 rounds. Jake Fromm, I feel more comfortable with. But do the Vikings really want to go from Kirk Cousins to, at best, maybe an Alex Smith? So I don't know. I ended up just going with the offensive interior. Damian Lewis, he was a rock. The guy's a refrigerator. The guy's a mountain. Got all the strength in the world. You ain't gonna bull rush him. And Pat Elflein kind of was bad last year. And then Seattle Seahawks, they go offensive tackle Ben Bartch out of St. John's. A guy after the Senior Bowl has a ton of hype. The guy he came in a very unknown commodity. I said that word right. Commodity. There we go. D. But into the Senior Bowl, and basically he played like the best 15 to 20 reps of his life. Like, he looked like he belonged. He looked strong. He had quick feet. The word is, like, I think I have a third round, maybe late second round grade on him, but word is teams love him, that they see him as a second rounder. So I got him in here. Seattle, it's obvious why they need a tackle. So bam, you got a tackle. Jeremy Chin coming here at 60. I just like him. He's an elite athlete. He blew up the combine. No one was touching him in the secondary, like including the DBs. Like, he was just on another level. And the Ravens, if last season's anything to go by, they kind of prioritize putting athletes on the field rather than, your traditional, like, all right, well, let's go to our nickel scheme. So let's bring in our 3 or 5 secondary guys, 2 linebackers. They'll opt to put a jumbo safety in the box. And I think Chin can do that at this level. Teams are talking, like, coming out of here, they're talking him like he's a late second, third round player. He's kind of around there on my board too, so I like the fit here. J.K. Dobbins going to the Titans. It sounds like that these 4 running backs will be second rounders. At least that's what it's sounding like. He didn't get a chance to participate at the combine because of a foot injury he suffered in the national championship. I think it's a foot injury. I'm not positive though. Basically, if Derrick Henry leaves, they're gonna have to find a replacement. Dobbins, he fits very well in that scheme there. He's just a cut and go type of guy. I like it. And then Patrick Queen, it kind of feels like he's fallen. Like he had a really good combine, but he fell in this draft. It was kind of hard to like, okay, what team will go for him next? You know, it's like the linebacker position is probably it's one of the most least valuable positions because it's starting to get outsourced by these safeties. I'm looking at you, Isaiah Simmons. So it's a bit interesting. I mean, even Derwin James, he comes down and plays linebacker. So, but Green Bay, they get a steal here, I think. He's a great sideline to sideline player. He's a ball hawk. He's got a nose for finding the football. And then Jonathan Greenyard going to KC. I really wanted to get edge or somewhere on the defense. If Queen was here, if he fell one more pick, I would have taken him in a heartbeat. There was no interior or offensive interior guys that I was like willing to pull the trigger on. So Jonathan Greenyard, a guy that I think still developing a little bit, but he's got good speed, he's got good bend, he's got good strength. He's just a very good prospect. So, and he had a banger of a 2019. And then Antoine Winfield Jr. out of Minnesota, going here to Seattle. This was a tough pick on who to go with. But I ended up going with the rangy safety, you know. They're really missing their Earl Thomas. Am I saying Winfield? I don't know if Winfield could be at that level. Don't put words in my mouth. But I'm just saying they're missing. Did I say Andrew Thomas? Earl Thomas. Hopefully I said Earl Thomas. But they're missing Earl Thomas. They get their close to Earl Thomas type of guy here. I love the wheels on Antoine Winfield. I think he's a very good athlete, just like his daddy. But that's it for the video. I know you're probably gonna be wondering where's like the Curtis Weavers, where's the Cameron Dantzlers. I'm asking that question too. But it just sounds like people think Curtis Weaver is no more than a third, maybe late second or early third rounder. He came in, I thought he came in looking really good. He still actually got a first round grade in my book. So again, this was more reflective on the rumors and what I've heard, rather than where I see the players should go. And yeah, so go ahead, become a bro and subscribe, leave a thumbs up. I know I said it at the beginning, but I just wanted to hit it at the end just in case you forgot. This is probably gonna be a long video. I tried to make it quick. It is what it is. But yeah, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.